Welcome to the July 17th, 2023 regular business board meeting of the Lower Merion Board of School Directors. This meeting is being live streamed and video recorded with sound for public broadcast. All participants joining via the webinar will need to use the chat feature, which will be enabled during audience recognition. If you're attending this meeting in person, you should be aware that other attendees may be recording as permitted by the Sunshine Act. This means, however, that side conversations you might be having might show up. Even those at your seat may be being recorded by other members of the public during the meeting. The board believes it's in its best interest and the best interest of the students of the district to hear comments from district residents. An opportunity will be given later in the meeting for public comment, both in person and through the chat feature, which will be read by our solicitor. At a previous meeting, there was unfortunately a great deal of audience members shouting from their seats and other disruptive comments while other individuals were engaged in public participation and at other points in the meeting. The board strives to be respectful to all individuals making public comment and does not wish to limit any taxpayer or resident's right to free expression while making their public comment during the public comment period. However, attendees do need to be aware that intentionally disrupting a school board meeting is considered a criminal offense in Pennsylvania. We have a relatively shorter than normal agenda this evening. I will give Ms. Schaefer a moment to speak if she would like to start out our meeting.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It was by design, the last meeting as acting superintendent. I wanted to make sure it was very short. You're welcome. And first and foremost, I wanted to welcome Panagiotis Papa George, who is on your agenda tonight as potentially our next assistant principal at Kenwood Elementary. Joining him in the audience is Mr. Ty Ross, who was appointed last meeting as the principal of Kenwood Elementary, and so we're very happy to see them here this evening and welcome them aboard. We also have two additional, one change in assignment, but a new assistant principal that will be joining us at Harriton that's on the agenda this evening, Stuart Warschauer, and a promotion from an assistant director to director position of Mahmoud Hussein in our nutritional services department. Mr. Hussein has been with us for a number of years in the within our nutritional services department as an assistant director, and so we're very excited to see him in the director position that was recently vacated by Karen Castaneda. So excited about those administrative appointments. I also just wanted to express my appreciation to the district, to the board, and to all of my amazing teammates here in the room and also across the district. I think this time in serving as an acting superintendent coming to a close, there's many things I'm looking forward to getting back to. I mean, the policy committee meetings are going to be on fire this year. So whoever's the committee liaison, watch out. And but I'm also as I've always been excited to continue the work in the district with the team that's here. I think, I've liked to say across the table to people that when you say the district as this entity, remember it's made up of a lot of people that care a lot about kids, and that's why they're here primarily. And at the end of the day, I'm a mom, I'm a taxpayer, and I care about public education, and that's the way a lot of us, operate, when we don't have our professional hats on. So, if anything, I just want that impression to be left with our community and with the board and with the people that I've had a chance to lead in this capacity, that at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all care a lot about this work, and I'm excited to continue to work in the district, and especially with Dr. Yanni, who I'd also like to just put a plug in because he's been here, he's getting to know the people here. I think he's going to hit the ground running, so I'm very grateful that he's spent some of this time in transition with us, and I know he's tying up a lot of loose ends where he is. So I'm looking forward to working with Dr. Yanni, and so again, I just wanted to say those words, and I appreciate the opportunity, and excited to continue to work here.
Thank you, Ms. Schaefer. We are very grateful and thankful for your leadership over the last 7-8 months, and thrilled that you'll be partnering with Dr. Yanni as we move forward. So next on our agenda are the committee meeting reports. As you know, in the summertime, we are much later on our committees. You may also note that our students are not with us. They are on summer vacation. They will be back, I believe, in September. They are on a rotating basis, so each year we have a junior. Since we started this, we've had a junior and senior every year, so I believe that you'll be seeing Ms. Simmons as we move forward next year, and there will be a new student representing Lower Merion High School. Since Ms. Wu is going off to college. So we only have one committee meeting report this evening, and it is, of course, the Facilities and Purchasing Meeting Report, which is our favorite long one, and I'll pass it over to Ms. Schaffmeister.
Yes, thank you, Megan, for keeping it short so we could take longer. So we met, the Facilities and Purchasing, met on Thursday, July 13th, 2023, and the following items were discussed by the committee and recommended for approval by the full board tonight's meeting. We recommend approval of the list of bills. We reviewed the following items in the purchase report and recommended for approval $11,656 to JP Gallagher Construction for seal coating and striping the driveway that serves the cafeteria side of Harrington High School. $14,975 to FW Webb to supply and install custom ductwork for air handlers at Welsh Valley Middle School, pricing under CoStar's agreement. We reviewed the following district contracts and recommend for approval the renewal of these student services agreements. Still rehabilitation, 2-year renewal for through 6/30/25 for registered occupational therapists with year one, $67.46 per hour, and year two, $69.82 per hour, and a physical therapist at $67.46 per hour for both years. American Red Cross ending for 1 year CPR and first aid certification and recertification for special education paraprofessionals. Timothy A. Wood, MD, PC, for a not-to-exceed amount of $35,000, providing consultation medical services needed in support of the district. Karen Benzarella, providing occupation therapy services at $68.30 per hour. This is no increase from last year. The College Board Readiness and Success Agreement, and this is per the college school schedule for services for PSAT exams given in early October. This year, all 10th and 11th graders will be required to take the annual PSATs on a device. The renewal of educational services agreements for the 23-24 school year. And those include Efficiency software for 3 middle schools and Harrington High School for $11,860. Cengage Learning Inc., Gale, for district library resources for grades 9 through 12 for $28,000. Generation Genius K through 8 and science teaching resource that is paid directly from the school budgets. That's $8,000 for a total of $12,919. Curriculum Associates 1-year license renewal of elementary, middle school, iReady assessments and personalized instructions math for a per student amount of $13,357.50. Brick Workman Consulting for professional development workshops, school visits and coaching, development and management of foundations, and Just Words resources for not to exceed $36,000. Educational Vista Inc. 1-year license renewal of district degree of Reading Power online subscription for $19,188. Market Educational Resource for Connected Library Consortium CLC Shared Digital Collection membership for $8,000. ProQuest LLC of District ProQuest online licenses for all district libraries for $55,536.03. Capstone Classic District Pebble Gold license for district elementary and middle school libraries for $17,604.19. No Red Inc. premium site license for all middle school schools for $31,415. Newzella District subscription for Newzella for all secondary school buildings for $83,842. EBSCO renewal package, ultra online package for K through 12, academic search ultimate, MAS reference ebook subscription for $12,000. Delta Math Solution, Inc., district license for Delta Math Integral for all 6 through 12 teacher students for $8,500. Active Learning, Chem 101 digital license renewal for $11,800. Explore Learning Gizmos, District Gizmo Science Department license renewal for $9,085. Savas, 1 year digital delivery modified mastering A&P with Pearson eText for Essential of Human Anatomy and Physiology for both high schools at $9,975. IXL Learning Supplemental Online Math Resource in grade 5 for not to exceed $9,380. Seesaw platform for student engagement that inspires students of all ages to do their best and saves teachers time. Students use creative tools to take a picture, draw, record videos, and more to capture learning in a portfolio. Teachers find a creative activity to share with students, and families see only their child's work and leave comments and encouragement. And this is for $18,144. Dreambox Learning, an online math program for grades K through 12 for $63,645. Dr. Tara Doty, and that's Sage Wellness, and that's a renewal that will provide developmental resources that will be used in professional development for the 23-24 school year in districts, schools with administrators, teachers, and students during the school day on implementation of cultural proficiency action plans, developing curriculum, and providing teacher support for staff cultural proficiency leaders, and also provide services as an educational consultant for training regarding racial literacy, cultural proficiency, equity and inclusion, and ways to build bridges that celebrate diversity. This is for a not to exceed amount of $83,375. And a community member spoke up in support of renewing this agreement. Wilson Language Fun Hub, digital support for the Foundations program. This resource supports differentiated instruction and home support. This is a repository of supplemental materials and lessons for $11,875. And now we're to the renewal of general contracts. Gene Stanley Independent Consultant Contract to provide staff, students, and community members professional services regarding social, cultural identities, inclusive of gender and transgender expansive identities in relation of the implementation of district policies and regulations, school counseling service, and teaching and learning in the district for not to exceed amount $30,000. Advanced Protection Company Security Services Agreement renewals, subject to solicitor review for an annual amount of not to exceed $575,000, and it's based on security agent, $28 per hour straight time, and $42 per hour overtime and holidays. Site supervisor security agents, $32 per hour time and $48 per hour overtime. Comcast Internet Essentials, and this is a Fourth Amendment to the agreement for the school year 23-24 for low-cost internet access for students who cannot afford internet access at home. LC pays for approximately 8 to 10 families a year. Optive CrowdStrike Identity Threat Module will give LSD increased visibility and enhance options to better protect our sensitive data at a cost of $44,164. Power Schools SIS registration, EMS, e-collect forms and maintenance support quotes, subject to solicitor review for the 23 school year at an amount of $122,743.84. Lower Merion Aquatic Club license agreement to allow scheduled access to LMH pools through June 17th, 2020 for $48,000 payable to the district in 4 installments. Spiesel Architect Group Professional Service Agreement Amendments 16, 17, and 18 for additional work completed during Black Rock Middle School construction in the amount of $21,985.37. Change orders for Black Rock Middle School include to IMC for $9,482.80 for trench rock removal was on April 22nd, 22 for the storm line at driveway to the school. The other change order is a credit for $56,900 for unused allowances from Vision Plumbing Construction. For the Black Rock Middle School update, the track is coated, which is great, and now there's just the lines that will be painted this summer. Their acid sinks, resistant sinks in the science rooms are still to be installed this year. Continued integration of lighting control systems with the Siemens Building Automated System, and a punch list of work is ongoing both inside and outside. The cost to dates of Black Rock Middle School, the total approved change orders for the construction to date are $5,107,574. 90% of these change orders result from four main causes: 43% additional work related to soil excavation and site preparation, 21% omissions or errors made by subconsultants, 18% omissions or errors made by the architectural firm, 8% requested changes made by Lmsb. There are now $2,023,693 in claims made by contractors and $457,076 in claims made by Lmsb for work done on Black Rock Middle School. These amounts are currently under negotiations. Including all disputed claims, the total project cost is $106,162,435, which is higher than the projected cost, but lower than the original construction estimate. We had some community comments included a question about the job listing for the project manager position for $100,000 a year. The answer was that it's an existing position, which is a vacancy, and that is part of the care and upkeep of district-wide and long-term plans. And there was a request for the level of access under policy 713 to Oakville. Unfortunately, we don't have the staffing for coverage of unarranged access, but a group could submit an application as a community group under the policy, but it would have to go through the system. A question came also about the equity athletic versus non-athletic activities. And to say the district supports district supports for all students and cost supporting each type of activity. And the answer is that both are important to the district. We have schedules and sponsors which can show cost of athletic versus non-athletic programs. And the next facilities and purchasing meeting will be held on August 17th in this same room. If you wanted to look up any of these things, there's more details on the agenda from Thursday's meeting. And I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schaffmeister. We can move on now. Next on the agenda would be the addition, if there were any additional agenda items, which we do not have this evening. And then next is audience recognition. So at this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak at tonight's meeting and have not yet signed up with Ms. LaPera, please do so now. The sign-up sheet is in the back there. For those of you joining us via the webinar, the chat feature will now be open, and you will see a timer for 10 minutes appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and or questions via the chat feature. Please be sure, this is both for public in-person and via chat comments, to start with your full name and where you reside in the district. It's important in order for your comment to be shared. It doesn't need to be specific address, just neighborhood is perfectly fine. So Ms. LaPera, do we have any in-person comments for tonight's meeting?
Yes, we do. We will start with Sarah Thomas, then Ruth Jenkin, Adrian Seltzer, and Holly Manzoni.
Sarah Thomas, Wynwood. The PSBA 2023 legislative platform includes core legislative principle 4, secure adequate and equitable funding. Within this principle is a section on transportation funding issues, section 4.5, which includes the following statements. School boards call on the state to B, restrict the requirements for existing charter and non-public school transportation services, including a reduction in the 10-mile rule for transporting students to non-public and charter schools located beyond a district's border or across state lines, and provide relief from such transportation requirements unless all the actual costs involved are adequately funded, and H, change transportation requirements relating to non-public schools so that school districts are not required for transporting students to non-public schools. This is found on page 22 of the legislative platform. School boards in several surrounding districts, including Radnor and Haverford, have voted to support these items in the legislative platform. I would strongly encourage our board to support these items as well, as we all know the strain that is put on our district due to a lack of adequate busing and bus drivers. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
I'm Ruth Jenkins, and I'm from Wynwood. I'd like to thank Mrs. Schaefer. I think we're all grateful for the thoughtful and delicate way in which you stepped up to the plate. I also would like to talk about the trees at Oakwell. They're a legacy for future generations, and I would like you to let the new board work around that and not make a decision on this with this board, and give them an opportunity to assess the Oakwell Preserve. The other thing I was curious about was last session, you made a motion or a resolution about the time change. I don't know whether it was a motion or a resolution, whether it's binding or not binding. I'm curious about that. I'm also concerned about the youngest of our learners in kindergarten and fourth grade going to school so late in the day when our high school students are getting ready to go to college, when nobody is going to be able to wake them up and prepare them for waking up and getting enough sleep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Hello, Adrian Seltzer, Wynwood. I haven't seen you guys in person in forever. I hope you're all doing well. I got so excited when I walked in late, of course, and saw a facilities purchasing meeting report and then audience of recognition, thinking that it was, you were able to chat through the Zoom at the facilities meeting. Much to my dismay, that's still not a thing. You have to be here in person, which is next to impossible for parents and people who have a sleep cycle similar to a teenager. Okay. I'd like to welcome Dr. Yanni. I don't even know if he's here or not, as a taxpaying resident and also as the Vice President of the NAACP Mainline Branch. Now, back to tax-paying resident. If I can find the right thing. Yes. I would like anybody who's watching or any of you guys here who haven't seen it, please watch the short film by student Noah Forers about the student-led Oakwell movement. July 3rd was the hottest day on record on the planet. On the planet. In over 100,000 years. Will students even be able to play outside if we don't start thinking long-term? How does spending tens of millions of dollars to destroy our historic and environmental oasis in our township make sense? And what is it also teaching our children to look at short-term gain without looking at the long-term consequences? I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seltzer.
Good evening, Holly Manzoni, Wynwood. And I, too, would like to thank Ms. Schaefer for the outstanding job you did. This has been a challenging, what'd you say, 8 months that you've been in this role, and you've really done a great job. And I'm very pleased to know that you'll still be around. I think you'll be a big help to Dr. Yanni. I, too, am hoping that Dr. Yanni will hit the ground running. And I'm hoping that the very first thing he does is save Oakwell. Not only because Oakwell needs to be saved, this was a problem that was created a couple administrations ago. You guys aren't to blame for that. Ms. Schaefer isn't to blame. Dr. Yanni should not have to deal with this problem. I know when the decision was first made, it seemed like the right idea at the time. But with new information, what we know now, I think it's time to just take Oakwell off the plans and let Dr. Yanni have a chance to come in and really focus on the things that matter. You're about to start full-day kindergarten. You've got this start time. Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have hordes of people at every meeting saying the same things about why we should save Oakwell? And we would love to have the night off as well. So I'm really hoping that Dr. Yanni has been watching these board meetings and seeing that there really is a lot of activity about Oakwell. Wouldn't it be nice to just get that done? And then all of you can make this district really great for educating our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manzoni.
That was the last in-person one.
Ms. Drews, do you want to start? Well, people still have a few minutes left to do their public comment via chat, but would you like to start reading them, please?
Yes, and first commenter didn't put in a name or excuse me, didn't put in anywhere in the township, so if they're watching or listening, they can still do that. Isabel Melvin, Wynwood, PA. Understand Lower Merion School District has made promises to developers and contractors to create playing fields at Oakwell. This must be disappointing for them. The real disappointment will be for the future of the residents of Lower Merion Township. Let's be leaders. Let's use our money wisely. If SEPTA can cancel $3 billion King of Prussia rail extension, LMSD can break the news to the developers and contractors. We decided to go another direction. Stop $23 million degradation and destruction of Oakwell for the health and future of Lower Marionites. Would you like me to respond to that, or wait till the end? There haven't been any promises made to anybody. There couldn't be. They wouldn't be legally binding if there were, and there is no approved development plans for Oakwell. So to say that anybody's made promises to developers and contractors, it's just simply not true. Next is same person continuing on. Thanks to Ms. Schaefer for taking care of our school district so well. Oakwell is eligible for Register of National Historic Places. This national treasure should be reunited with Stoneleigh for all to enjoy 365 days of the year. It could be the Longwood Gardens of Villanova, an Olmsted Brothers Park, a wildlife biodiversity preserve. There are suitable places to play sports. Oakwell is not one. All information regarding the historical and ecological significance of this uniquely beautiful property and the petition can be found at growoakwell.com. Elizabeth Porter, Gladwin, I'd like to encourage everyone to review the materials at growoakwell.com, which has links to view high school senior Noah Forer's film about the student effort to save Oakwell. Excuse me. The student efforts to save Oakwell and had extensive information about the history of Oakwell and the environmental significance of this amazing property. Julian Brightman, Marion, PA, please reconsider making any environmental changes to Oakwell. We are obviously in a climate crisis. Destroying these trees and watersheds may seem like a drop in the bucket, but every bit counts now. Again, if it's too hot to be outside, what is the point of playing fields? Please save the Oakwell dollars and put it towards students' education in how to deal with their climate challenge future. Oh, here we go. Kath Kurtz from Narberth. In only the months since the last board meeting, we have had to face the climate emergency we now face. Dangerous heat and torrential rains have put us all in danger, even killing a family in nearby Bucks County. Will you put a hold on the old board's proposal to destroy 426 trees and tamper with the headwaters of 3 creeks that run through our township, Mill, Gulf, and Upper Darby? Will disturbing the headwaters and wetlands badly affect the creeks? You can't know the answer to that. Take this time to step back and rethink the decision. We know there are other playing fields, but we will not be able to replace the trees and preserve the historic site. please back up and rethink the impact of that proposal on the environment we all share. And that concludes the chat comments.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. I wanted to follow up regarding the transportation. I think we noted at our last board meeting, or the update on the Healthy Starts, that the policy committee would be reviewing the transportation policy for the district this fall. And I think that the resolution is a topic that we can include in that conversation around the transportation policy, although it is outside of the bounds of what the district can do until the legislative platform that PSBA has put out is things that they're trying to get the state to change. Currently, there are very strict regulations around the state transportation, or the transportation policies around transportation for non-public schools and the distance that transportation makes outside of the school district. But that's something that we will take up in the fall during the policy committee.
Just to add some, hopefully, clarity to the status of the Healthy Start Time discussion, where we, the administration was tasked after, I believe, a February board decision to change start times in the order that's been presented on a number of occasions. At that time, the administration was tasked with looking at some potential, I would call relatively more minor modifications to that decision, which is what we presented ultimately in June, and which we are moving forward with for implementation. So it was, consistent with what the board had already authorized the administration to do, and so we were providing that update to the community with respect to those modifications, which I believe we've communicated since that time, and we know that that will be an important task ahead of us to make sure that we are regularly communicating what those times will be as we are able to finalize transportation routes at a student level over the course of the next school year. So on top of that decision and the subsequent modifications, we will be continuing our attempts to communicate all of that information to all students and families in preparation for the implementation beginning with the 24-25 school year.
And I just wanted to follow up and thank the administration for being able to accommodate some of those, the request, one, that no school starts before 8 a.m., and then also the concern that the elementary school was going later in the day, and so they were able to move earlier, to be clear, to move earlier the end time of the elementary school day, because that was a large concern. So those two boundary periods have been tightened, and we thank the administration for being able to work out that piece of the puzzle. So next we're going to move forward with approving the agenda. I believe we have one item that we're going to pull from the consent.
Yes, it's my understanding that the item J, approved under the, sorry?
12J under the facilities.
12J. Approving construction change directives is being pulled. Did you want to take that first, or do you want to take that after?
I think we should do that first.
Okay. Currently, the resolution reads, approve construction change directives to Weatherproofing Technologies, Inc. for an increase in the not-to-exceed amount of $230,000 and a lump sum deduct amount of $129,817.33 for the Penn Valley Elementary School roof replacement. That motion could be either made as written, or it could simply, if you choose not to include the lump sum deduct, someone could simply make a motion to approve the construction change directives to Weatherproofing Technologies, Inc. for an increase in the not-to-exceed amount of $230,000, period.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. So next, do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. So now do I have a motion to approve the agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Aye. A second. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Mr. Roos, can you please give a report on the Sunshine Act?
Yes, the board met earlier tonight in executive session on numerous topics. One had to do with tax assessment appeals, specifically the 2024 district-initiated assessment appeals. One had to do with threatened litigation regarding a construction contract, and the third had to do with the Arnold Field, various Arnold Field litigation and threatened litigation regarding the lights.
And thank you, Mr. Roos. I wanted to take a step back and explain the agenda item that we pulled out of the consent. Mr. Orlando, can you provide a little context?
Sure. So the two items that were on there were not addressed at the facilities meeting because they were not identified till later that day. The one construction change directive, which is the not to exceed for $230,000, was to perform drain connection repairs and also wood blocking replacement as required of the project. This is unforeseen conditions that were not visible or detectable when with the old roof was in place. So this is on a time and material basis. The other one was, which I guess we didn't vote for, was the deduct for the recoating of the gymnasium portion of the project.
Thank you for providing that. That is generally the end of our meeting. Our upcoming board meeting dates, which are held at 8 p.m. here in the District Administration Office. Our next meeting is Monday, August 21st, here at 8 p.m. We only have one committee meeting coming up this month, which will be held here again in the boardroom. It is also live streamed and recorded. Starting at 8:30 a.m. will be the August 17th Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. There being no further business, I hope everyone continues to enjoy their summer break, and this meeting is adjourned.